So, we are in Turrican.
We are indeed. So I actually started off playing this on the real hardware because, as you know, I bought that flash card for the
Yeah,
Game
I
Boy.
was going to ask you if you tried it on the real hardware.
I did. And this game, you'll probably notice that for the first time ever, I haven't even played 7 minutes. I think it was probably more along the lines of 6.5, because
Yeah.
this game does the deadly sin of porting an Amiga slash C64 game that, of course, had up to jump, and then retaining it on something you need to play with what is effectively a gamepad, right? Because you have a D-pad.
Yeah.
So playing that on the Game Boy, holding the Game Boy, I would constantly, by accident, press up. And especially in the beginning, it wouldn't be by accident because I would know this is Turrican. I'm supposed to be able to shoot up. But I couldn't. You can't shoot. You can only shoot straight in either direction that you're pointing. So I was trying to shoot stuff in the air and then jumping into it and killing myself instead. Or I would be going towards an edge, as you'll see later on, trying to jump. Let's see here, for example, you need to do some precise jumping to not fall in the water because that's an instant kill as well. And then instead of just nudging to the side, I'd accidentally jump on my Game Boy. So it's slightly better here where I'm playing it with an Xbox 360 controller on the emulator. But still, who on earth would port a game that has up for jump because it has to, and then retain it on something that has a D-pad? I can tell you who. Idiots who don't playtest.
Well, the weird thing about this is that all of the console ports, and there was a port of this to the Genesis, to the
Yeah.
TurboGrafx 16, and I want to say Master System, but I may be wrong there. And they were all done by the same company.
As I remember it,
company.
Mega Turrican was actually quite good.
Well, Mega Turrican is a different game.
Okay.
So these were straight ports of Turrican 1.
Okay, so that was released as well for the Mega Drive. Okay.
Yeah, Mega Turrican was actually done by Factor 5.
Yes, exactly.
That's why it's a different ball game. But this was actually done by a completely different company. They did a whole bunch of stuff over the years, but nothing that was ever really any good. And so this was quite literally Accolade that we've talked about. They were doing their unlicensed Genesis titles. The Genesis port of this was one of those. And they were desperately trying to get into the console space. And I think the requirement or the assignment here was just basically port it as close as you can.
Yeah.
Now,
well, they definitely did that then.
Yeah, I gotta ask, when you're playing this on the original hardware, how bad was the flicker?
I didn't find that to be bad, actually.
Okay.
The graphics were actually, they were nice, but too detailed. Often you wouldn't be able to actually see what part of the was just part of the background and what was stuff that was going to kill you, especially on platforms you're going to jump on or whatever. Sometimes there'd be spikes and you wouldn't really notice whether they were like this grass in the background or a spike that would kill you when you landed on it. But no flickering, I noticed. At least I played it on the Game Boy Color, and it looked even a bit nicer than this because it had a bit of color in it, of course. But yeah, what really let this game down is the controls. I mean, if something as simple as if they had just not mapped up to jump, it would have been infinitely more enjoyable. But even with that, this is not a very good game, I'll have to say.
Yeah, this got horrendous reviews.
Okay. Thanks for letting me choose that then.
Oh, I gave you plenty of games to choose from. There were some real gems on there.
There was.
And instead you went with Turrican on the Game Boy, which you should have known was going to be bad. I mean, I'm sorry. If it's Turrican on a Game Boy.
That's true, but I like Turrican.
Yeah, you could have taken Metroid 2. That was also on the list this month.
Yes.
And, you instead decided that you needed to play this. I mean, they kind of still have the same amount of stuff on the screen as the original C64 version.
Yep.
It feels like, the characters, but the character is so small in comparison with the screen. I mean, yeah, it's just confusing as hell.
Yeah. Yeah, it is indeed. And yeah, sadly not very playable. But still, I could see if I bought this game back in the day, I would have spent a lot more time trying to actually learn how to play it, and maybe I'd enjoy it. There's some funny choices with regards to controls because there's a bomb shot. I don't know if you noticed it. I used it a few times. You need to press select and then the shoot button. So select and then
really?
A. So in the middle of playing, you'll have to just look down and I'm going to select and press, and that's always when it's the most dangerous parts, of course, because that's when you need the bombs. So. Yeah, some funny choices there.
Well, I also noticed you haven't used the lasso at all. The
haven't-
laser lasso.
That's only because I actually didn't pick it up in this instance.
No, you don't have to pick it up. You always have the laser lasso.
So the lasso, if I recall correctly, holding down the A button would, or maybe it's the B button, would shoot the lasso. But I found that I could only use it once or twice, and it felt as if it was only when I had that energy weapon. But I may be wrong there.
Yeah,
so
no,
I didn't
you
actually
can
use it here.
Yeah, you can use it any time.
Okay.
Yeah, I play tested this a little bit.
Yeah.
I had played it originally back when the first Game Boy emulators popped up. We're talking 95. Well, the first ones I managed to get my hands on. And so Turrican was one of the first ones because, C64 and Amiga nut. And I remember playing it going, oh, this sucks. Then again, I also spent quite a bit of time playing Donkey Kong Country Land or Donkey Kong Land.
Yes. Yep.
The port to the Game Boy. So, hey, I was young and I had lots of time.
You should have played the other Donkey Kong game because the Donkey Kong 94 game on the Game Boy is wonderful.
Oh, yeah. And especially if you're playing it with the Super Game Boy Color.
Sure.
The Super Game Boy.
Super Game Boy, yeah.
Yeah, that unlocks the extra levels and stuff. So.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that's an amazing game. I've spent way too many hours on that one.
Yep.
But yeah, Super NES emulation wasn't quite there yet back then. So let's get back to the show then.
Let's.